Don't leave me hanging. It's go time.
Hey everybody, this is Josh, and welcome to another marvelous game of StarCraft 2. This one's being played between Evil Genius's EG.IdrA for the third game in a row. He's the green Zerg down here in the bottom right corner of iCCup, Fighting Spirit. His opponent for the third game now is coL.CrunCher. He's the orange Protoss down in the bottom left corner. The map iCCup Fighting Spirit you might not all be familiar with. I actually have cast some games on here in the past. Don't know what number they are right off the top of my head, but either way, I'll show you a couple of features of this bad boy. Your main is pretty large. You can fit basically whatever you want in there. There's a single ramp down to a natural, which is very easily defended, except CrunCher actually getting a little bit of a worse deal here. His natural is actually placed between him and his opponent, while EG.IdrA's natural is up here above his base, sort of away from CrunCher. But either way, still basically equal land distance between CrunCher's natural and EG.IdrA's natural, so it's not really too big of a deal. And EG.IdrA's third is actually placed between himself and CrunCher as well, so it does even out a little bit. And like I said, this is the third base. It has two entrances though. One hex ramp on the left side, one hex ramp on the right side. So there are two quick entrances. If CrunCher is harassing the natural or something like that and decides to switch gears and go over for the third, he could certainly do that. EG.IdrA, of course, probably would be a little bit wiser to expand up here for his third if he was going to get that far in this game. CrunCher chrono boosting out some probes right now. Nothing exciting happening. Looks like he did drop a forward pylon, so perhaps going to be seeing a similar build to what we saw in that last game on Shakira's Plateau, where he did a forge fast expand. He's also dropping that pylon as you always expect him to do, and EG.IdrA, of course, just rolling with the punches, building his spawning pool. Probably going to get an extractor in just a moment to work towards Zergling speed very quickly. CrunCher canceling that pylon, of course. He's going to build another one. EG.IdrA, of course, has to know this, but CrunCher, as soon as he sees these two drones, basically just has to bounce around until he gets 100 minerals. There's no way they can really kill him before then. Oh my goodness, EG.IdrA does kill him before then. Sorry, CrunCher, I thought there was no way, man. But Forge, Cybernetics Core, Gateway will easily be able to plug this choke here. So no speedlings will be able to get in there anytime soon, even though he is going to have his spawning pool finished now. He's not making any lings. He's already set because he got his hatchery down without having to deal with any sort of really annoying pylon. So EG.IdrA has to be feeling good so far, even though it's just a minor victory. It did buy him a lot of time on that hatch. CrunCher coming in, trying to get another pylon down, but nope, there's already a hatch there. He's just making sure that hatch is there. Now he's just going to bounce up toward the middle of the map. Perhaps he can build a forward pylon somewhere here and maybe do a 4-gate attack or something like that. Of course, he does have a Nexus already placed here, so that's not going to happen, but he could do it if he wanted. Forward pylon right over here instead. Proxy Stargate is possible. Hidden Tech is now possible. He can hide a Twilight Council or a Dark Shrine. EG.IdrA, how did you know he was up there? You saw that probe leave all the way up there to that plausible third base for EG.IdrA? Interesting, but the probe is probably going to walk all the way back into the main. Actually, he might get jabbed in the face by these drones and this queen combination and die in a blue flame instead. CrunCher does have a single cannon up already, getting a cybernetics core here as well, so if he ever wants to get out of his base, he's going to have to destroy one of these structures. Of course, he does have Warpin on his side, or will eventually, so it's not going to matter too much. Two assimilators finishing at the same time for CrunCher, so we'll finally get to see what his tech choice will be here in a couple of moments. Two lings are going to test the front for CrunCher. Even though he has that overlord there and saw what was already there, at least he's going to be able to watch for any of these buildings losing health, so meaning CrunCher is going to be moving out. EG.IdrA will drop this hatchery here without scouting out this little hidden pylon that's here. Let's just take his vision. Yep, does not see that pylon for CrunCher, so it could make a difference. Let's see if CrunCher sees the hatch, actually. Yeah, he does see the hatch. And he's got a probe actually making its way into the main base this time around. The queen, too busy injecting larvae to actually pay attention. There's no roach warren, no baneling nest or anything like that, though. EG.IdrA is going for just a very fast third base, super greedy build here on iCCup Fighting Spirit. And in case you didn't know, Fighting Spirit is a Brood War map. That's why it looks a little bit strange. The terrain is not super complicated or anything like that. It's basically like, this is my main, it's on one level. This is my natural, it's on another level, just like the rest of the map. I mean, there's very little elevation changes or geographical features or anything like that. This is kind of weird here. Of course, this wasn't here in Brood War. There's no Xel'Naga towers on the map, but there are gold bases with destructible rocks. If you take this, you can get, 2 rich Vespene geysers and 12 high yield mineral patches. So that is a hell of a good expansion if you would ever actually be able to hold it There are two giant entrances on either side. CrunCher could have done it, though. He could have just walled off both sides with a bunch of gateways and perhaps been rich, but EG.IdrA really wouldn't have much chance of defending against that. If he were to take a hatchery there, I mean, he would have to build a ton of spine crawlers and queens to be able to defend something like that. But his hatch is turning into a lair now. Back over here, nothing crazy happening. Stalker is shooting away at this queen. Just one queen. Not going to be able to defend itself against a Stalker unless EG.IdrA pulls some drones or gets some lings in the action. There they are. Metabolic Boost just about to finish, and they grow their wings right as the Stalker is being chased out, so he will be able to kill that guy for free. CrunCher might as well just hit stop and kill one of the lings. I don't know if they'd surround and kill him before he could do that, but at least he's dragging them away from the pylon long enough for 3 zealots to warp in, so this pylon actually making a difference here. He hasn't started attacking anything yet. He is going to warp in a 4th zealot. Looks like he did get all the way up to four gates here, but they are going to be surrounded by the lings. 5 zealots total now, killing off these lings. More of them spawning now, though. Only 3 zealots, 2 more warping in here at the natural. Actually, not at the natural, at the 3rd base of EG.IdrA. He's killing off some drones up on the top. The queen's getting in on the action. It's got 2 kills, 25 HP. If CrunCher can get in there and kill that queen, that will set him back a little bit. He does, of course, have some high-value targets here with these drones. The queen's so low on health, though, I have to imagine he wants to score that kill before the spine crawler finishes at least, but no, he's going to continue shooting at these drones, continue warping in here. This is such a strange commitment from CrunCher. I don't think there's any way he can really keep this attack going. It's kind of interesting that he's spending so much here to try and get this to do damage, and yeah, he just loses everything once the roach finishes, once the spine crawler gets in position, and the pylon goes down. So EG.IdrA has to be feeling good about thwarting that aggression. He's still close, actually just barely ahead on harvesters now, 43 to 40. He's working off of 3 bases. He's got roaches on the way. Twilight Council finally being built for CrunCher as he gets +1 armor on the way. He's already got +1 weapons, evidently. And EG.IdrA still just bouncing around with lings, making sure CrunCher isn't taking a 3rd base without him knowing about it. And here comes that destruction that I mentioned earlier. If he ever wanted to get out of his base, I knew he'd have to destroy one of these buildings. 2 more gateways coming up now. And no, he's actually not going to finish off the gateway. Perhaps he saw those lings running around and didn't want any part of that just yet. But that will put him up to how many gateways? It'll put him up to 7 gateways total. He is actually going to finish off destroying one of them now after another round of warp-ins. Blink will be done, a long time from now actually, 70 in-game seconds away still. 80 in-game seconds away, to be honest, but you know, it'll get done sooner than later. He is not going to warp in another gateway to actually replace that, so all these lings might actually get in. Nope, the Stalker's still close enough on hand to be able to repel that. EG.IdrA is massing up a bunch of roaches here on his side of the map, though. 4 more on the way. Ventral Sacs, meaning drops are going to be possible here soon. Glial Reconstitution, that roach speed, +1 range attacks. Hydralisk Den coming along as well. CrunCher does not have the same sort of lead that he did on Shakira's Plateau when he had Blink already finished and was moving across the middle of the map. It looks like he is starting to begin this string of pylons across the field, though. Also getting a robotics facility because he knows that Mass Gateway can be countered by those burrow roaches, and there we do see burrow actually being researched for EG.IdrA, so he's getting that robotics facility as a sort of preemptive tactic there. Going to be able to bounce away those Zerglings and continue moving on toward the natural, but EG.IdrA has a lot of roaches here. CrunCher does have Blink finish. We'll see if the Blink Micro is going to save him once again. Actually, he's running away instead of just blinking away. There he goes, up onto the high ground, waiting for this pylon to finish so he can do a round of perhaps 7 Stalkers, 6 Stalkers total. And this robotics facility is going to finish soon. He's at 1-1 upgrades, soon to be 2-1. If you look at that production tab, it's fully underway. EG.IdrA sitting at 0-0. He's going to be at 1-0 in just a moment and have Burrow on his side in just a moment. Hydralisk range is upgrading. He doesn't really start building Hydralisks until that range is about to be complete. Otherwise, he just spends all his larvae on these roaches. Ventral Sac's going to be done here in just a moment. So I'll have to keep an eye on the minimap for any sort of you know, big drops into the natural or the main. That natural probably going to be a little bit exposed, and EG.IdrA actually creeping all over this 3rd base, so CrunCher can't even expand, even though EG.IdrA has been on 3 bases for quite a while. He's actually at 68 harvesters now against CrunCher's 45, and that is a massive difference there. EG.IdrA is actually up by 65 supply, actually 70 supply right now, so CrunCher is going to need miraculous blinks once again to be able to try and take this game, but he did it once. Maybe he can do it again. IdrA still bouncing in with these roaches, not getting a concave really, but all the Hydralisks now starting to spawn. They've already got their range increase, and CrunCher's blinks were not that clean. He's actually losing some stalkers on his retreat, but warps in 4 more. Here he goes for another round. He's got his observer in the air, so burrow is not going to make a difference even if IdrA does use it. Wow, these stalkers cleaning out the roaches very quickly, but the Hydra count is getting very high, and he's getting 7 more right now. Maybe IdrA's thinking if he just makes a ton of Hydralisks instead of constantly reinforcing with those roaches, he might be able to actually thwart this, and CrunCher down to double-digit stalkers here. Only 14 or so remaining, 16 now with that next round of warp-ins, and IdrA has almost that much in just Hydralisks and still has 10 roaches along to tank some damage. He's making a bunch of lings. Stalkers, of course, all their lasers getting drawn to lings instead of roaches, and Hydralisk buys IdrA a lot of DPS time. CrunCher is going to want some zealots if he sees all these lings coming in here in just a moment. 20 lings being researched now, or actually created, not researched, but they will be on the front lines here soon, soaking a lot of these stalker shots. Guardian Shield is going to go up. Actually, Sentry doesn't have enough energy for it, so I'm not sure why he chose to press in already. Actually, both Observers being taken out now as well, because that Overseer is well placed by IdrA. Looks like another Overlord is going to take some damage. He is trying to do a drop. It looks like he may have done a drop here, but it perhaps was shut down. I don't know. That Overlord might just be chilling. But here we go. Another big engagement. CrunCher actually has the concave this time, but IdrA has better upgrades than last time and a lot more Hydralisks this time around. He's going to focus down 1 Stalker at a time and actually repel CrunCher for the time being. CrunCher, how many Stalkers do you have, buddy? He's got 19 Stalkers against 19 Hydralisks, as well as 9 Roaches still in there as well. So this Overlord's still just hanging out, you know, just trying not to be too he's not trying to draw too much attention to himself. He just wants to hang out and watch those probes mine. But here we go, another big encounter, just like we saw in Shakuro's Plateau. It's endless Stalkers against endless Roaches and Hydralisks. 12 in production, 13 in production for IdrA. So if he actually manages to kill some of these Stalkers, he's going to be in a great position moving on into the next portion of this game. But CrunCher not giving up. He's going to continue blinking. He's at 2-1 upgrades, getting another Observer out now, just in case Burrow does make a difference. I haven't seen it actually used yet, but we do have a lot of Stalkers here for CrunCher. Still don't know really who's in the lead. I mean, IdrA does have an 80 supply lead right now, so IdrA obviously in the lead, but these blinks still could make a difference. IdrA says you can leave now. He's just killing wave after wave of these Stalkers. Kind of rude, but CrunCher stops microing evidently and just leaves the game. So IdrA has a point. He's at 168 supply now against 49 from CrunCher. Losing that last round of Stalkers put him so far behind that huge concave of Hydralisks. 67 Harvesters for IdrA, 40 for CrunCher. That army value at the end of the game, 95-9. So IdrA definitely had a point, but CrunCher leaves the game. IdrA going to take the series 2-1 and put a point up on the board for Evil Geniuses against Complexity Gaming here in the ESEA.net Team League StarCraft 2 Finals, Grand Finals I should say, and putting his team one step closer to $2,800 cash for his team to split up.